They'll be calling you a radical. So as I've been going crazy, the investigative journalist, the old short seller, I've been on this scam, the greatest scam, and perforated on the Utah people in history, NUSCALE. So finally, and I'm an old short seller. As you know, I've been battling them from day one. I've been going at these monsters from day one, NUSCALE. So this is the greatest scam in human history. So nice stock. I hope you guys shorted it. So stay with me. So it goes public here. And this, I've been going at this long before it went public. Nice stock chart. Why is it crashing the last 5 days? Because finally, short seller, investigative journal, because the SEC won't do their job, and the state of Utah is not going to do their job. I asked Jose Reyes about this, our state attorney general. He says, I'm not related to this guy, Sean Reyes. I says, okay, I believe you. What about these SMRs? What's that? So anyway, the only municipality in the world that's funding these things is Utah. So here we go. So finally, Iceberg, the short seller investigative journalist, just rips these guys, calling it all fraud. And, Utah's the only one funding them, and their money's running out. And they're talking about has more credible control of this carbon-free power project with Utah Hams. They're talking about the corruption of it, which Kevin Blanche, I've been on that from day one. The only municipality in the world that's funding. Now, the only one activist that fought him as they were putting this together in the Utah State Legislature. Governor Herbert promised me he'd veto if they turned it into alternative energy. AMPS was made for alternative energy. And so they had to go to the Utah State Legislature and change the law to being small nuclear energy was alternative. And I battled them. And I, as you know, I was in the state legislature. Let me show you this. Here it is. So this is me in 8 years ago inside the Utah State Legislature while they're in session. I'm full of cancer, by the way. And I catch them lobbying. This is NUSCALE lobbying underneath the stairs while they're in session, which is against the law to lobby while in session. Now, they used gifting. And, so dirty. So unbelievable. And this is me battling. I've got interview after interview with all the politicians, legislators as they're voting. I have hundreds of videos. They're online. You Google around, you'll find them. So stay with me. CFO Chris Colbert sells 89,000 shares. He sold every stock he's got. So the insider's just unloading on this stock, and as I've been reporting. Now, at the same time, Utah, I asked Governor Cox online about this scam as he's running. And I'm like, really? He told me he didn't even know what an SMR was, but he immediately gets in bed with Bill Gates. Now, remember, Bill Gates stole the operating system from Utah. And so he's like the most hated man. We had a trial in 2011. So why would Governor Cox sign a deal with Bill Gates, of all people, to build SMR small nuclear reactors in Cameron, which is a fairy tale? It's a sham. Okay, but he did. I've asked him about shareholders ignore 4.5 million sales of NUSCALE insiders. This is a good article. As you know, I've been reporting this I've been at this since 2011 when this whole scam started. Now, remember their original funding, NUSCALE. I'm the guy that outed it. Now, remember their original funding was Kenwood Financial. They have to get the private funding, then they go to the government sector from the DOE and get the money. And I'm the guy that outed the Kenwood Financial was a Ponzi scheme. And the gangster that freaking put it together is doing life in prison, South American gangster. And so I outed that clear back then. I'm like, and the Obama administration eked up, the Trump doubled down, then Floor Construction got involved. Oh my God. And so this, and people are arguing. I'm like, I don't short it. I've got cancer. I'm fighting for my life. I used to be an old short seller. I used to be an old derivative arb guy. So I'm like telling people, short it. As you know, play back the tape. I hope some of you did. Lovely. So Utah is funding them finally, because the SEC refuses to do their job. The state of Utah is not going to police anything. Maybe they can go give Tim Ballard some more money. Nice stock, right? Lovely. How's that working out for you? And by the way, 1 under 3, they're going to get delisted. So, again, let's start over here. By the way, also, the United States started testing nuclear weapons again in the Nevada test site yesterday. So we've gone from Reagan and Gorbachev to Biden and Putin, Trump and Putin, Bummer, Dumber and Putin, Bush, and my God, it's a nightmare. So these are all the insider trades. All of them. Who's this guy? Chris Colbert. He is the CFO, and he's unloaded every share he's had. $7, $7.41, $7.87, because they knew it's insider trading from hell. They knew, and Utah's still funding them. Now, I've talked to Governor Cox about this. I've talked to they play stupid with me. They play ignorant. And, KSL has nothing but promoted them. Got to picture that ugly Buffett. Got to see his face. God, he makes me want to throw up. He stole our school business. What a scam. That's Bill Gates' company. It's a scam. And you're not going to. It comes out of it's called AMPS. I'm the guy that helped put AMPS together. So what is AMPS? What is AMPS? Utah Municipalities for Alternative Power Sources. I'm one of the guys that was all wind and solar, 100% wind and solar. They went to the legislative body and had to change the law. One person they're fighting. And I'm interviewing politicians. I'm going crazy, as you know, full of cancer. My doctor in my gown with a central line hanging out sometimes. This is underneath the stairs, but I have hundreds of these. Remember they used to call it WIN? This is the biggest. I just talked to a guy who's pretty educated on this campus just now. He was just sitting right here. I told him, this is the biggest scam ever perforated on the American populace. And I mean on the Utah state populace. And you ask 100 people don't know what it is. Because the media won't do it. KSL's promoted this, KUTV, Deseret News, Tribune, everybody's promoted this. So you have these municipalities around the state that they come in and says, here's form a shell company, we'll give you 200. Brigham City, Kaysville, Morgan, Murray, and they just stole each person formed a small company, mayors or city council people or whatever, and they got a $200,000 grant from the federal government, and they just pocketed the money. And I'm reporting this the whole way around, and so finally, as you can see by this investigative journalist report and everything that I've been reporting, as you know, I mean, I've been going at this from day one. So they take it public. I'm like, oh my God. They support the price. They get the venture capitalists, and the venture capitalists unload at $12, $14 a share, which a lot of them are Utah insiders. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the insiders of the company just been unloaded. The CEO, Jose Reyes, Chris Colbert, they just completely unload and just stick it to the shareholders. It's all insider trading. It's the most corrupt thing in the history of the state of Utah. And they become filthy, stinking rich. And Utah comes right out of your power bill. You pay a Utah Power and Light bill. It's well over $100 million these guys leached and sucked up. And finally, what I've been saying, this investigative journalist, here, finally, he rips them. Carl Saran. It's a brilliant piece, but it's exactly what Kevin Blanch has been saying the whole time. And I'll post all these links. This is the greatest scam in Utah history. There are no SMRs. And I've been up at Idaho National Lab. I'm going up there all the time. Governor Hermit promised he would veto the alternative. Remember, in the state legislature, they put the bill to bail out Energy Solutions, the dump site. They were going broke and moving to Texas. Kevin Blanch had them kicked out of here. So they merged the bill for NUSCALE and that one together. Governor Herbert promised me he'd veto it. He promised me he'd veto it right here on this campus in an interview. Me and him talked multiple times. And he says, no, it ain't happening. So he didn't veto it. And They promised me, I'm inside the state legislature. I'm protesting, I'm going at it, as you know, video after video. I remember interviewing Snow, and he's like, why'd you do this? Because I can. Paul from Clearfield, who I know, why'd you do this? Because I can. What? What? Jobs. They're based in Oregon. There's no jobs here. What are you talking about? They don't even exist. They just ripped us off. And it's corrupt as hell. Now, I've gone to Reyes. Now, Sean Reyes is Attorney General. I asked him at the Bear River Massacre because I'm always there every year, and they showed up. Governor Cox spoke and called it Utah territory. And I talked to him and said, why are you wearing your ignorance public? Franklin, Idaho was never Utah territory. It was Washington. Not when I was told. And so I talked to Sean personally. I said, Sean, what about this NUSCALE sham and this race? And he's like, no, I'm not related to that guy, Kevin. Okay. What about these little SMRs being tested right here in Idaho, or that we're being shammed? I really don't know what that is, he told me. Okay. But then he about face and turned around and says, let me make this perfectly clear, Kevin. I am not related to that guy. Okay, I believe you. And meantime, the Tim Ballard shamrockery is going on in Utah. Everybody's funny. Go give Tim Ballard some money. And Kevin Blanch, the greatest investigative journalist, the greatest activist in the history of this state, bar none, is exposing this scam. Well, I've been exposing all of them, trying to save you from you. I mean, it's outrageous. God. He sold every share he has. That's the CFO. And that's recent. This is insider trading to the 10th power. This is the biggest scam ever perforated in the history of the state of Utah. I'll post all these links. Bill Gates has got his fingers in. The guy who stole the operating system from Utah, the most hated man in Utah. Why would we get in bed with him? I don't know. You can go ask Governor Herbert. Governor Cox. Look at this. It's public knowledge on insider trading. It's public knowledge. And I'm an old Wall Street guy from the day before I got cancer. And so I know how to do this. And so I've been exposing it. I've been at him in the Capitol lobbying. David versus Goliath. And what do I get for it? I get slandered. I get kicked out of Medicaid by Mike Lee. I get open heart surgery twice. And remember, I was in critical condition for AML leukemia. Remember the bone marrow transplant center that I was in at LASC States right through Memory Grove through the Capitol. My Dr. Finbo, I will quote him, he come into the room one day and threw that down. He says, look at this, Kevin, on NUSCALE and Blue Castle. I'm sucked up to 119 pounds of dying with a central line and a gown. He says, you got to fight them over there. They're having a closed door meeting. I says, I'm quarantined in here. I'll write you a pass. And so a couple of nurses went over there. I'm in a gown with a tree hanging. Fighting, Governor Cox's father died of leukemia. All these people, Governor Herbert. And Governor Herbert was very cordial and nice to me all the time. Promised me he would veto this. And he's like, no, I'm not for this, Kevin. No. And he didn't. He lied boldly to my face, which I don't appreciate it. And I used to like that guy, because he was at least articulate and intelligent and well-read. But I named him Dirty Herbie for a reason. They shammed us. Nuclear energy. There are no SMRs. It's a sham. Oh God, if I got to look at that ugly dude's face. He stole our school business here at Weber State and Bill Childs. So I've talked to all my friends up in Wyoming who are mucks up there, and they're like, no, he come up here and spoke. I says, really, you trusting Bill Cox? No, it's going to happen. No, it's not. It's a sham because they get the money up front. Nice stock, right? Lovely. Lovely stock. That's a young nuclear biologist trainee. I've been talking to him a lot. He's a very brilliant kid. Just got back from a field trip from Los Alamos, him and his sister. Really smart kid. I've been getting up to speed on this. Unbelievable, right? How long must I slide? Thank you to everybody around the world that has supported this work, but nobody in Utah supported me one fucking penny. And I'm 7th generation Utah. I'm so Utah that my address was coming up at the LDSC State Bone Marrow Transplant Center. I lived there for 5 years. Stay tuned.